colleagues, welcome back to the afternoon session of our ADASS summer conference. And I'm delighted to be here as ADASS President, giving the opening address at lunchtime. So thank you for your perseverance with the technology, and thanks very much for taking the time to register, log on and join in the conversation with ADASS summer conference. This conference over these 2 days is really about talking with us about our priorities of personalised care and health, which we discussed this morning, social justice and inclusion, which we're going to discuss this afternoon, and care market reform and regulation, which we're going to be discussing tomorrow. And as well as those priorities, we want to have a conversation about 9 statements to help shape social care, which we will launch tomorrow, and which is our input for trying to promote social care reform going forwards. I want to give thanks to all of our partners for their support to ADASS and to this event, and to continue to ask you as delegates to visit the exhibitions, to book yourselves into the workshops, and to participate and ask questions. Do tweet as well if you can, and there are lots of opportunities to do that. The hashtag is ADASS SummerCon 20, and do give that a go, please, and keep the conversations going throughout the whole day. I wanted to give a few key messages before we begin our session this afternoon. And first of all, I want to echo messages that some of my colleagues gave earlier and really pay tribute to the people who have lost their lives during COVID-19 in the adult social care sector. Those are service users as well as staff, and as well as acknowledging the way in which people in social care have put their lives at risk and the incredible efforts that you have all made as ADASS members out there across England during this crisis. COVID-19 has truly shown the value of adult social care to society as a whole, although that value is yet to be truly reflected, in my view, by actions from government. And we still await and expect that to happen this year and in the coming years. Since March, ADASS has had a busy 4 months of engagement on the pandemic. It's right, I think, for us to put ourselves at the heart of that work with the Department of Health and Social Care. And together we have protected people as best that we can. And we have assisted the NHS in not being overrun. And we've worked hard to try and support care providers through the work of local authorities. There has been a great deal of change and acknowledgement and work at speed on guidance on different processes, on different organisations that councils and local people have taken for themselves. The work, though, is not done. I want to particularly give thanks to the current Director General of Social Care, Ros Roughton, who has really worked in a very inclusive way with all partners in adult social care and brought us close to the decision taking in a way that I think is very helpful and points us to a way we should behave going forwards between local and national governments. And I want to acknowledge the leadership of other people in the adult social care sector, but in particular, I think local act personal. We heard from Anna Severite this morning, who is involved with TLAP and also with Social Care Futures. And I would particularly praise Clinton Farquharson for the leadership that he's showing, helping to bring voice to people's experience and to the issue of equality. Despite being at the heart of that work, ADASS has been and will continue to be a critical friend. I'd like to reassure our partners and government that when we speak out, it is for constructive change, and it is to make sure that there is a voice given to things that we feel aren't going well. And we speak for social care. We don't think it's right that anyone else speaks on our behalf or tries to speak for us. Looking ahead, we've got 3 tasks in front of us. We need to support the social care task force. in the short term, and we need to prepare for winter, and we need to work on reform. In relation to the task force, the job clearly is not done. Our services are not open. Our families are not back together. And we have seen the impact described to us this morning from individuals about the impact that that has. We're still dealing with outbreaks. And if this pandemic is anything like others, then we will see a groundswell and the risks will still be there. The basics of the task force work, testing, managing outbreaks, dealing with risks, and trying to define the new normal, those are all essential tasks that adult social care needs to support. And in preparing for the winter, we will need a plan, but we'll also need resources. And it will be fundamentally unfair if the NHS receives winter funding, but social care does not. And we have to think beyond infection control and beyond PPE, as important as those issues are. And we have to tackle the stability of social care providers and the sustainability of local authority adult social services. There are outstanding questions for how adult social care can fund the necessary enhancements that we've had to give our sector to cope with the pandemic this autumn, if we are to avoid further reductions in this year and plans for reductions next year. As it stands, and with these three elements facing us, social care would not be able to withstand winter plus COVID, or winter plus COVID plus provider instability. The system is at risk of collapse. Despite those worries, though, we do have to plan for the future, and we can't plan for the future of social care in a crisis. We're not an emergency service. Our determinants are health, care, housing, and the societal issues that relate to individuals and their power and their place in their communities. We are a service in our own right, and we have to plan ahead for the reform of the way that we work. And so today, this morning, this afternoon, and tomorrow is all about that reform. And this conference really is no different to the previous years. We're online. I'd like to think that we're more accessible and transparent for being online. And clearly, we've got an opportunity to give differing views through the way that you can interact. And I'd really encourage delegates and observers to engage so that we get a greater diversity of voices and viewpoints coming through, and that we challenge each other as well as support each other. And in terms of support, we have to think as leaders, and we'll find some time to discuss this tomorrow, about how we lead going forwards, and in particular, how we make the sustainable support of our staff and our communities and our service users at the heart of how we push forwards. So thanks for listening to my lunchtime opening. And I'd now like us to switch to the session on social justice and inclusion this afternoon. Thank you.